I will ask you, can you hear? Am I doing this? Can't hear.
We can repeat the question, Bob, we can hear it. We'll repeat the question, we can hear it with the microphone.
Okay. Do you support amendments 1 and 2 on the November ballot? And if so, why? If not, why? It's a simple yes or a simple no.
The question is, do you support Amendment 1 and 2 in the ballot? Simple question, she wants an answer, yes or no, but then you said if.
Why?
Why? But that's not a simple answer.
Yes, why, and no, why. Just yes or no.
All right, yes or no, and then and why, and why?
Can I have my contact card back? You know, there are 16 amendments. 14. And it's going to be on in November. You will have to Number 1, so everyone will know, increases the amount of a home's value exempted from property tax. It will force local governments to cut public services and raise local taxes. So my answer is no. Number 2, makes the cap on non-homesteaded, that's second homes and commercial property assessment increases, permanent. Will continue to limit resources available for public services. No, we need that to grow our community. We need that to support our community. So my answer is no.
I've made it a rule over the years never to support an amendment, particularly a constitutional amendment, because I felt it was the voice of the voters. My feeling is, very frankly, though I will answer it candidly, my guess is, if we were to say who's going to raise hands, most people in here are going to vote for the extra $25,000 homestead deduction. Most people will vote for it. The commission expects that it's going to happen, and we're budgeting planning on that, because we're going to have to pick up, and this is sort of, if you want to talk about a state-funded mandate, we're going to have to find the gap on how to pick up $5 million. And we're working on that now, because we do believe it probably will pass. And again, it's a pass down. It was done by the state legislature. 90% of you folks in here are going to vote for it, but the reality is we're going to have to find a way to deal with it in the budget, and we're working on it now.
And you're
Good
voting
question.
for it? You're for? So does that mean yes? Are you yes?
Yes or no?
Are you voting yes?
I said no,
Oh,
and
okay.
I don't comment. Yeah, the years I've been in elected office, I appreciate and respect the process. So I've never commented on amendments. What I'm saying is, personally, I believe 90% of the people in this room will vote for it, because it's going to save them money up front. But what it's going to do, it's making the job for the commission more challenging.
I haven't thought a lot about it, because it is in November, and I've got a primary against an incumbent who's been elected 2 times to run. But I can tell you that my answer is yes. My gut is that I would vote for it. This is not 2008 anymore. We have the Trump economy. I've been knocking on doors throughout the county, Deep Creek, Englewood, Port Charlotte, and I can tell you I see building everywhere in the county, and that is a good thing. It's a very good thing. They do great jobs for our young people in particular. But I think if we collect more impact fees, we charge $4,800 even after raising them this year, versus say $7,800 in Northport. It's a lot of money that can be redirected towards things like water drainage, public works, those kinds of things that have really been an issue in the county. So yes, my gut is that I will vote to limit, to expand the exemptions, and I believe that we can find the money, and I think this is a good thing, and I'll say it when it's good. I think this is a good thing the commissioners are doing in terms of planning for a yes vote.
Simple question. Instead of raising taxes, what would you do to cut spending and attempt to lower taxes on people instead of increasing taxes?
Okay, well, this is Tom Sullivan again. Impact fees are not considered a tax. Because you buy into a community, what are you buying into? You're buying into other nice homes that were already built. You're buying into neighborhoods where people all get along. You're buying into an area that has good schools. You're buying into an area that has nice roads. You're buying into an area that sometimes even has sidewalks. But you know what I've noticed walking around? We don't have a lot of sidewalks. And that's what happens, I think, when you let builders regulate themselves. That is a proper role for government. It turns developments into neighborhoods when you have sidewalks. You have a place for kids to ride their tricycles. You have a place for new moms and dads to take their kids out on strollers. A place for the elderly to take, or any couple really, to take a walk after you eat. Cutting spending, I gotta tell you, there's not a lot of fat in the Board of County Commissioners' budget, and I commend them for it. There hasn't been a lot of tax increases, and I say that that's a good thing. But one thing there hasn't been is the spending we need on public works, so we can get that if we start collecting better impact fees. Thanks.
But David, you remember one of the first things I did when I was on the board, I put in the motion to cut the water tax, which was put in. In fact, Bob Starr actually seconded it, and we passed that. I will tell you this, that we have not raised the millage rate since I've been on the board, but we've had to deal with the fact that, we have an expanding community. We're on the move. Charlotte County is growing. You're seeing development taking place everywhere. One of the things that we did do a number of years ago, shortly after I came on the board, we did cut the impact fee. But what happened, it made us competitive. And coming out of recession and coming out of Charlie, people started looking at Charlotte County because they could build a house here cheaper. And it was in those days that people weren't getting jobs. But I could go to the builders meeting and they didn't have enough work. Now they can't get employees. They can't find a skilled carpenter, a skilled electrician. They're not there, because business and everything is on the boom. And what we did, we recently did, about 3-4 months ago, we did raise the impact fees. We raised them 8%. We have a plan where we're going to raise them 5% next year. I'll just say real quickly, some of you guys may remember, I had proposed to cut the millage rate last year, and then boom, Irma came, and it was a good thing we left it the way it is, because we got saddled with millions of dollars. We're still trying to fight to get some back from the feds. But I appreciate what Mr. Sullivan said. I will tell you this, we've got 5 commissioners, we're all different, we don't all agree, but we work hard, really hard, to keep our taxes and the budget as tight as we can make it. Thank you.
Okay, let's talk about taxes. Your MSBU tax, everybody likes the Municipal Service Benefit Unit. The commissioners are saying that they are not raising your taxes because they are moving it into the MSBUs, which is a non-tax. It's called a non-tax. In fact, the other day at the commission meeting, the county attorney, she turned and said to them, the MSBU, the non-ad valorem taxes are not taxes. So really, you cannot even take that off your taxes when you do your IRS form. Anything that's in the non-ad valorem. And that's your MSBUs, and your sidewalks that should be paid by impact fees. They're being paid by your MSBUs. Stop voting these things into your MSBUs. They don't belong there. The taxes are going up. Don't forget, homesteaded properties cannot exceed 3% increase. That's why everything's being moved into your MSBUs and your non-ad valorem taxes, so they can tell you, we didn't raise your taxes. Non-ad valorem is not called a tax, so they can say they did not raise your taxes. We don't want that anymore. We have to be aware, and I will keep you up to date on what is happening and what is a tax, what is not a tax, and how much you're paying.
Next question.
Hi all. My question is for Mr. Deutsch, because he is a sitting commissioner. I'd like to talk just briefly about Sunseeker. I'm a bridge walker, and I have a very narrow concern, and a selfish concern, but I am concerned. What's going to happen to my access to the bridge? What's going to happen to the parking spaces that are gone now? How am I going to still be able to walk from Charlotte across the bridge and back and put my car somewhere?
Okay. I think that's a great question. There's been a lot of misinformation about Sunseeker, so let me set the record straight. Everything Sunseeker is doing pretty much has been in the plan, and you know this, Joan, for the CRA for like 20 years or so. This is what they've talked about the people in the neighborhood doing. And basically, in a very simplistic way, what we've given Sunseeker, if you want to say that, what we've discussed, is we're giving them a little extra height, but what they're doing, and your walk is going to be a lot better, because all of that is private land, and they're gonna open it up to the public. And that boardwalk will connect with the bridge, and you will be able to walk a lot longer than you could now, because all of that property that Sunseeker bought up was private property, and you didn't have access there unless you went to the boat dealer, or unless you went to the restaurant, or unless you went to the motel. So part of the thing that we've worked out, on the garage, just to explain that, what we did, and we mentioned it before, because a private developer can do something cheaper than the county, we asked Sunseeker, hey, would you guys consider building the garage for us and saving 20% in taxpayer money? If you know, when you go down to that park, there's never enough parking. We bought it, forget about Sunseeker. If you look at the park, the cars have been parking on the grass there for years. We bought the extra lot. People are using the park. It's wonderful. We don't have enough parking spaces down there. So we have thought about the garage, and the only reason we mentioned it to Sunseeker was because they would save 20% of the cost of building it, and then we would buy it back. Because you can't run government as efficiently as you can run a private business. And it would have been a partnership. They didn't accept it. They said they'd think about it. Those are the facts.
I'd like to answer that question. That is not true. It's not true, I'm sorry, but Sunseeker, you know that river walk they're talking about? That's being built over the water. It's going to be over the water. And just a week and 1 day ago, I was at the advisory board meeting for the Charlotte Harbor, and I had read everything that was going to be on the commissioner's agenda the following day, where they were going to rubber stamp this. And I got up for my 3 minutes or whatever, and I said, have you read this? And there was a county attorney there, one county commissioner, and a zoning person, and all this. And I said, have you read this? I read them just a short section. It said, when the river walk will be done when they have substantially completed their project. Those 3 words. I said, what is that? In 10 years, 20 years? And they looked at me. And then I said on the next page, we're told there's going to be benches there for the people who are walking. Well, you will be allowed to walk, to jog, and to walk your dog. However, the benches, they can have a brief respite. Those are the 2 words that were there, brief respite. So, and then the following page had a whole page of the things they can call the police to have you arrested for if you do anything else there. So that is what they did. The commissioners that day took it off the agenda for the next day, and it still has not been put on. So somebody had to go back and read that. And I'm sorry, about height. That height of 90 feet is based on the river walk. The river walk should be first before they put that 90-foot height up.
I'm going to respond to that because she suggested what I said wasn't true, and I think she's confused 2 issues.
You want to hear the response?
Yes.
The CRA for like about 12, 15 years has planned to put the walk that goes underneath the bridge up along the outside. That's one thing. What's happening here is all of the property that went up to the water was private property. That's the property, sort of like Disney did when he went into Orlando. The Sunseeker people came in and they bought that up. They are going to open that boardwalk area and make it available to the public. And what you talked about, we're in the process of negotiating because Sunseeker is concerned about liability and the county attorney is concerned about the county's liability. And what they're fine-tuning is how we're going to work that agreement out. And that's exactly where we stand now, and that's the truth, and that's the facts where they are. You have access to all that information, as everyone in the public does, you know, on the transparency issue. There is nothing that we have before us that we vote on that isn't out there in public, it isn't online, it isn't part of sunshine. The state of Florida has the most restrictive sunshine laws in the United States. And we all abide by that. Frankly, some of us think it's almost too restrictive. We don't even sit and have a cup of coffee. We just had a meeting in Orlando with five commissioners went to. We took 5 cars.
I gotta go for breakfast.
All right, next question.
Don't make them ring that thing one more time.
Anything? I think we have a gentleman here. Not 2 gentlemen.
You got enough film in that thing?
When talking about Sunseeker, I'm a little skeptical of the whole program. I just don't think it fits our neighborhood. The cost of the rooms, the development, and I don't know how it's gonna affect anybody that lives here. What benefits are we gonna get from Sunseeker?
What is your question, sir?
I'm gonna ask you, what benefit is the average citizen here in Charlotte County gonna get from Sunseeker? And if it goes belly up, what are you gonna do?
Well, it seems as though, this is Tom Sullivan, it seems as though the train has left the station on Sunseeker. So, the deal's signed, they're buying up properties, they bought a Kingsway Country Club. So at this point, we all have to hope that Sunseeker is going to be a wonderful thing. Now, some of the things there's no beach there. They want to build this world-class marina. How deep is the water? 1.5 feet? How long is it going to take them to drain? About 25 years, maybe they'll get a permit? So I'm skeptical. I am. I'm not happy that we front-loaded the sweeteners, whether it's the height thing or whether it's allowing condos to be counted as motel rooms. And I can just tell you as a business, as a former financial reporter for Barron's Magazine, Dow Jones, and the Wall Street Journal, I know what's going to happen if phase one, which is the only thing they're really committed to, starts to go wobbly. They're going to sell it. Somebody said they already said they're going to sell it. That's not news. It's still news because they'll sell it, and they'll sell it to whoever they can get it off their hands and go find something else, build the world's largest swimming pool somewhere else. So we have reason to be concerned, I think, about this particular project. This is their first ever of this type of waterfront development. It's being built by Las Vegas executive. But as I said, at this point, the train has left the station. Let's hope it gets there on time. Okay.
I think you touched upon some things that, this is a private development, as I think I touched upon it before, much the same way that Disney went into Orlando and bought up the property. I think, we're not sure what's going to happen. I don't think, over the years I found out that things don't always look the way they look in the first pictures that are given to us. But I think Sunseeker is going to have to find their own way, and they'll see what happens with it. I've seen architects come in and they show us renderings of beautiful plans, and it doesn't always end up like that. But this essentially is a private development, and the kind of thought of the giveaways that the county has done, we haven't done giveaways there. And what we've done is we've worked cooperatively with someone that's come in and wants to do something which is going to increase the tax base, and a lot of people feel is going to be a big positive benefit for the county. Do we know? I don't have we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know for sure, but everything they've shown us certainly indicates it's going to be a positive thing for the county.
Yeah, Sunseekers, right? Okay, Sunseeker is a CRA, and I want everyone to know what a CRA is, a community redevelopment area. A CRA, that one started, Charlotte Harbor, it started 27 years ago. 27 years ago, it was capped. The money coming to Charlotte County was capped at the ad valorem taxes. After that date, when it was declared a CRA, all of the money that came in stays in the CRA. Same thing's happening with Murdoch Village. We are still stuck with the bill for Murdoch Village. We will never get that back. But Charlotte Harbor, 27 years, and that money stays there. So be afraid of a CRA. I said to the commissioners just last week, every CRA has to have an end date. And they looked at each other and said, she's right, we agree. The commissioners said that. So yeah, Sunseeker, I'm not against development. I'm for smart development, smart economic development. I'm the person for that job, I know, because I keep track of everything that's going on. And I can tell you a fun story later on outside about how fiscally sensitive I am to all of this. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, last question.
Say again?
Go ahead. Go ahead. No.
Okay. There's two rules to be a plumber. The first rule, of course, is paydays on Friday, and we know what the second rule is. Crap goes downhill. And we are at the bottom of the hill at Charlotte Harbor. And as we see here with the algae blooms and everything else, and the fish and the manatees washing up. We've got tremendous environmental problems. What I'm gonna tell the state legislature and the Congress about our environmental problems and how we're gonna fix it.
For many years, I was a Charlotte Harbor water monitor. I wish I was still doing that. We might have picked this up sooner. But yes, it is a disgrace what's happening to our water. I'm here 23 years. We did not have this up until about 6 years ago, where we kept getting more and more of this. So something has to be done. Nothing's being done, we know that, at Lake Okeechobee. But I also think the Gulf, what happened out in the Gulf, where the oil explosions and such, and they said everything at the bottom was dead. Well, maybe now it's coming back and it's going to haunt us. I don't know. But I do know that the other day, again, you heard about the phosphate, right? The meeting the other night on phosphate. Well, one of the commissioners said to the other commissioners at the meeting on Tuesday, he said, you know, last night they started looking into this phosphate because Mosaic wants to get all this land for phosphate. And he said to the other commissioners, he said, I think we better start doing something right now. And they all said, oh, no, let's not, no. The water, Southwest Water will take care of that. No, we have to see these problems and take care of them right away. We love Charlotte County. Charlotte Harbor is a treasure. It is a treasure, and we have to take care of it.
There's no question, the most important natural resource we have is the harbor. And, the scientists, what we're doing now, we've got to get the state on board, we've got to get the feds on board. The scientists do not agree on what's causing this. Some people are saying fertilizer, some people are saying it's a natural algae bloom that happens environmentally, other people are saying it's because of Lake Okeechobee. And what we're doing right now, in fact, we have meetings, beaches and shores, we're dealing with it tomorrow morning. We're trying to put pressure on the state, we're trying to put pressure on the feds, because we have to find out what it is and what we can do about it. Now, I've been coming down here since the late 60s, we've had it periodically, but this indeed is a natural disaster, and in my mind, I give it the same priority that we would give the fires out in California, that we give the floods when a tragedy happens, that what we give when we have a major hurricane here. This is something that affects the whole Gulf Coast. We've got to get the state on board. We've got to get the feds on board. But part of the problem is, and we've been looking into it, the scientists don't agree. And not those experts, but we're working on it. A couple of people asked me this outside, and we're doing the best to try and get to the bottom of it and working with our neighbors to try and get an answer and get it straightened out. This is, I agree with Joan, this is the worst I've seen, certainly since I've been here.
Tom Sullivan. I think the county is doing all it can, really, by putting warning signs out on the beach that if you've got respiratory issues, you really probably shouldn't be on the beach. I was just talking to a neighbor today who, he's like the opposite of a snowbird. He comes during the summer to Florida. And he was just telling how terrible it was, he's in his 70s, how terrible it was on his lungs. And how hard it was for him to breathe. So, there is some disagreement about scientists, but at least it's not like global warming. It's not like debating whether or not the is bad. We know what's happening and we know it's bad. What we need to find out is what's causing it, and this really is a state/federal issue, and this really is a natural disaster. As bad as any oil spill, I would argue. You can't use the beaches, and if you can't use the beaches in Florida, that affects tourism, which is our #1 industry. So let's do something about it, and that's one thing we can all, both parties, even non-aligned, can agree on.
All right, that's the end of the time for the commissions, the candidates.